Hey y'all, it is June the 12th, 2020, and I barely made it on. I don't know about y'all. Barely, barely made it. And late at that, alright? But I thought we would touch base. I wanted to touch base with some of y'all if I could. We might, if y'all have nothing better to do on this Friday evening. It's very calm and peaceful outside, I just noticed. And the sun is setting here in San Antonio, Texas. A little bit late, a little bit chaotic. I guess there's wild and craziness that we're going to jump into before we get out of here. I do recall having screenshots of just wild craziness. And Google is going to tell us all about stuff that we need to know, all right? To include Billy and Melinda Gates, all right? I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but we're just going for it. We're just going for it tonight. A little bit willy-nilly. Just on a personal note, just to give you an idea, there's no excuses, right? But for full disclosure, we're a little bit late tonight. I gotta let y'all know for whoever pops in the recording, we're a little bit late tonight. And the reason is because I was messing around with this phone line. I want to have a call-in show. You know what I'm saying? I want to do basically just call-ins maybe, or for the most part, and then I'll do some other stuff. But I like talking to y'all, right? And I've established this. Y'all have very deep perspectives and just very insightful. Sometimes they come from left field, and I want to hear about them. Right? I think the world needs to hear about them. That's why I wanted to install a phone line. I've been talking about it. I do have a phone number. I see there's a person up in the building. I appreciate you. Holla at me. But nah, yeah, I do have a phone number which I have not disclosed to anybody yet. And if you have sent me an email, I plan to check that real quick. It's like, oh man, certain things like that technologically just get past my purview. Like if you send me an email, I will get it, but maybe like a week later. Like that's because I'm wild. My brain went wild, and that's how it operates. So okay. I just want to explain the phone line. I want to get the call-in thing going. It's not going to be tonight, unfortunately, even though I do literally own a telephone number that I have not disclosed to anybody. Okay, the reason is, my mind, hey, it's wild, it's crazy, and I can't even control it. Sometimes I want to, but it just doesn't work out. So, like, I can get things done. Okay, for example, technologically speaking, electronically speaking, if I need to, especially if it involves, say work, because that's financial, it gets me money. All right, so when I go there, I can figure some stuff out, or at least I try real hard. When I'm at my house, it's like the shoemaker's son goes without shoes or whatever. It's like I don't want to be doing all this, and so something as simple as setting up the phone, which I assumed it would be simple. We were talking about it to get the phone line. That's all I wanted, just the phone. I thought it would be simple, but it's not really. That's what I'm coming to find out. And y'all probably already know that out there. You're technologically more gifted, probably when it comes to these communications than myself. So, and okay, just to cut the story short, all right, the other day, maybe yesterday or perhaps the day before, I was like, okay, I got this phone, I got it in I bought the phone from Target, but I got the modems and stuff in the mail. This phone company, this, cable, internet, phone bundling company, what they said for me is to get this modem and stuff, and they were going to send it to me in the mail, and I got it. All right, and I'm looking through the various instructions. So like I said, I can't really control my brain. So if it's not super interesting to me, or if it's not super pressing, I'll take on the endeavor like halfway. And so, say all that to say, I tried to install the telephone the other day. Didn't really work, so I was like, I'll just go ahead and finalize the deal on Friday and stuff sometime. There's different various things I had to do. I found myself crashing out earlier today, this morning, crashing out, cold. And then when I woke up, that's when I decided. I was like, this before the broadcast, I can get everything installed, get the phone line going, Maybe people don't have my number, but I'll let them know, and I'll let them know it's official, and perhaps I'll get some of my number, like say Barfine or someone like that, and he'll call in because he's very prolific at that sort of thing. Perhaps, I don't know. Anyways, that didn't even work out. That didn't even work out. All right, and I don't want to talk about it too much further, but I do want to say it's like, gosh, man, it kind of blows my mind. And it's a little bit aggravating, and that technically speaking, all I wanted was a phone line, technically speaking. And I did have to go through a company in which I already pay them for cable, which I don't watch, and I don't have a TV, and I don't want a TV. And I've been given TVs, multiple TVs. I don't want them. And so I just wanted the phone line. And, you know, to my unliking, I guess it's all sort of stuff involved in it because of the whole bundling thing. You know, suffice it to say that I had to plug in three different, if I'm understanding correctly, three different power adapters into my wall. I had to plug in literally three different ones, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even more. Three different power adapters into my wall. And I think about how much electricity that is. It's like, oh gosh, all that electricity. Three different power adapters in order to get my phone to work. Right? And there's all sort of activation that goes in between me and making my phone work. So my phone is not working right now. I'm looking at it over there, and it's actually across the room because that's where the cable hookup is. I found out the cable has to be hooked up, period, in order for me to have the phone. So I had to hook up the cable. I had to hook up three different power outlets. So it's like, crazy. All that stuff's involved in order to get that phone working. Now it's across the room. I got to figure out logistics. Unless I want super long cords just going across my entire living area. And anyways, it's a logistics thing. I know a lot of people who's on the internet, like shout out to Four Corners Report, Barfine, Joe Green, the list goes on and on, Anaconda Liquor, and Maitre Mark, and everybody. They had to deal. I think me and Maitre Mark are more on the lower spectrum of the amount of technology that we have, and I'm probably lower than him. Oh, shout out to Tasmania, by the way, because I saw it in the headlines. I don't believe any news that I see anymore at all, and I would suggest that you don't either, but I saw in the headlines that Tasmania is 100%, absolutely, as far as they know, free of corona. Congratulations. I don't know if Maitre Mark is going to catch this here broadcast or whatever, but I'm going to shout him out in the comments, man. Congratulations, they don't have it. And so they're, I don't know. I don't know what that means, but shout out to them. And all this technical difficulties, we got that out of the way. That's not going to be part of tonight, but I am a step closer. I did get on before the broadcast with customer service for my, that's how I figured out that I had to have the cable all set up because the guy told me. His name was Parker, all right? And he told me, and he said all this, so it's like, okay, now I'm a step further. As far as the weekend, I should be easily mashing that out. I'm pretty sure I know what the heck I need altogether now. And so, hopefully by Monday, let's see, about Monday. I like to say Monday, but I could be mistaken, okay? So I'm going to check out the comments, all right? I'm going to keep an eye on the comments. It's Unwrapped by Brenda. That's the co-host, all right? Not only just Brenda, but if anybody else wants to elaborate or perhaps even come out of left field with something, I like that the best. All right, because it expands our horizons. I appreciate you. All right, but the thing is, while we do that, in the meantime, just to go ahead and not waste any time, I do remember that there were some screenshots. All right, and hopefully I don't have anything sensitive up in here. Up in my screenshots because I don't remember at all what's in my screenshots, but I'm sure it was bizarre, a whole lot of bizarre things. We're just going to run through them real quick if y'all don't mind. If that's the thing that y'all want to do in lieu of the call-in show in which we're going to have it so hard, it's going to hurt. Let's see, Montana man discovers this is my screenshots. We're just going to roll through them real quick. Probably nothing significant in it. But shout out to everybody out there. I hope they're being safe and they're being home. And they're hiding under their covers. And I hope they have a mask on. I hope you have a mask on right now. Montana man discovers he has all this DNA in America. That's crazy. Sometimes you see these things and they're supposed to get your attention, and certainly they do. It did. It got my attention. That being said, all right, everything is fake news, and I pretty much don't believe anything. All right, and it's my prerogative. I don't know if anybody thinks that they think they can make me believe something, but I can't. Montana man discovers he has the oldest DNA in America. I think I know what they're getting at, but at the same time, that's stupid. They're putting it's like a word salad. Doesn't mean anything. All right. I have the oldest DNA on Earth. You want to try me and make sure? It's like, dude, I know that I do, right? And some people might come up and tell me, no, your DNA is not the oldest. Well, it goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. So what the hell are you talking about? It's just gibberish. You're saying gibberish, and it means nothing. You just want to talk about Native Americans. Meanwhile, who knows what the hell Native Americans even are, right? I don't even think Native Americans know, but God bless them. Coronavirus. Oh, I wanted to bring this up. Like, I see this, God, and I've shown you this. If you've seen the visuals over the past weeks and weeks, this is the most pathetic, disgusting, off-putting, just disgusting, pathetic picture that I've ever seen in my life. This picture, and I see it over and over every single day. It looks like he has something bad tasting in his mouth. It looks like he very much regrets the position he got himself into. It looks like he'll never grow into a real man. It looks like he has a goblin over his shoulder. Like, am I over exaggerating any of this? Right? But that's what I have to see every single day. And there's supposed to be some lords and saviors here to keep us all safe. Meanwhile, even the best of us, even the people who's most concerned about what these people were saying, and trust me, that's a slim minority in San Antonio. Even we've got extremely bored, past the point of no return. Can't even pay attention. I dare you to go to like YouTube and put in Ron Nirenberg, San Antonio, whatever, COVID update, and I dare you to watch it for more than 5 minutes. I don't care what part of the political spectrum you're on. I dare you to. I dare you, and you're not going to. And I know for full and well that if you go and try and do it, you're going to think, oh yeah, I can listen to this guy. No, you can't. Not for 5 minutes. All right, but here's what it says. Coronavirus update, San Antonio, June 11th. So that's kind of breaking. It says, take this seriously. Please. Please, why don't you be serious? Metro Health Director discusses, who knows, who cares who the Metro Health Director is, what they're saying. Everybody's super agitated at it. And of course, we already know the majority of people can't wait to put on a mask, can't wait to denounce God, can't wait to do this and that, can't wait to give up all their rights just as soon as anybody asks them to. Yeah, we know that's the majority, but as far as everybody else, we don't believe what you're saying. We never believed what you're saying, but we found it just impossible to even take seriously what you're saying many weeks ago. Many weeks. Especially in San Antonio, a place in which that virus, whatever, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. If anywhere in the world, it doesn't exist in San Antonio. And in Tasmania, from what I understand. Shout out to my people. Doesn't exist, all right? And you're making up the numbers, you're gassing up the numbers. It's still pathetic. Your numbers are very pathetic. And you're meant to just put all sort of rhetoric out, all sort of confusion for the people who just don't know any better. The only people who buy into your lie are the people who wanted to buy into your lie since before you started lying this lie. Those are the only people who believe it, and they believe it so hard, but their brains are twisted into pretzels at this point. Trust me, I've talked to them. Their brains are in pretzels. Not one shred of logic is used throughout their day somehow because they wanted to buy into your lie so hard. So basically, if I was to give an update about San Antonio and this guy, oh my gosh, dude. I can't look him directly in the face. This guy, but he's definitely, he just looks, he's the worst of the worst from San Antonio, and he definitely is from San Antonio. I mean, I don't know if he's from here, but gosh, man, when I look at him, I see the worst in myself. It's just to say, like, I look at him and I feel like he's related to me, and he's being so pathetic. But like I said, he's just meant to sell San Antonio under, down the river, under the bus, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. And fear mongering, scaremongering. And they're already on this tip. I don't know if I put a screenshot of it, but basically that's what they're saying is, oh, the second wave's coming. You're being irresponsible. Y'all went off for Memorial Day and it's getting everybody sick. I can't believe. And it's like, even protests, maybe they'll get the protests, but we need to have these protests and stuff and the riots. We need to put it all together and mash it together. We don't know right from wrong anymore. And so, you gotta wear a mask and stuff, but it's not the law. In fact, nobody can make you wear a mask, but we're gonna suggest it. In fact, we're gonna tell you to put it on 3-year-old children now. And I seen it. I don't have time to prove it, but I did see it in articles that they said now masks are suggested, but they're not mandatory at all. But they're suggested that you put them on your 3-year-old little child. They said not 2-year-old children because of the risk of them suffocating and dying. But anybody over 2 years old, slap a mask on them because there's no risk involved in that at all. In San Antonio, Texas, where the temperature easily reaches up above the 100 mark. Right? But they're still, oh God, it's just like he's going, they're scaremongering. And that is to say, they are BSing, technically. I see right through them, and probably you do too. But just so that we have it on the table, see right through you. You're scaremongering. I've seen the numbers. I've seen your statistics, which are probably muddled up to begin with. But I've seen those, and they're not impressive. Okay, the second wave is going to be, and we already knew because we can put two together weeks and weeks ago. Like, you're on the news, you're pretending to be the mayor. Weeks and weeks ago, if you would have asked me, I'd tell you, yes, there's going to be a second wave. Why? Because everybody's been pent up in their houses. How do I know that? Not because I'm a genius, because I saw a doctor explain it very simply. He said, obviously, if we're pent up in the houses, we come all out, some of us are going to get sick. It's just what's going to happen. And so the mayor comes out and the Metro Health person comes out and they're saying, oh, we didn't see this coming, but there's going to be a second wave because you're irresponsible. And you got all these guns and we don't like it. And they're saying, oh, well, okay, there's a second wave and we didn't see this coming. It might be even worse and it's going to be so worse. We might have to lock down again. And see, the thing is about San Antonio is it's very non-political, as I've explained before. But it does meet the criteria for a lot of people, what they would call suspect. And in that, there's basically a Democrat mayor, number one. And it's always been like that. So that's just two strikes against us. It's a big, big city, which is kind of a strike against you technically. You don't want to be in a smaller town. That's what I would prefer. But it is that, and you got that going against it. All right, I don't know what's exactly considered pros and cons, but all the pros and cons, but one pro would be that we're not so political, and we're very like short when it comes to memory. All right, and we don't want to be agitated for so long. People put on masks and stuff, but a lot of people just grown so tired of not only the masks, but you're scaremongering all day, every day. And so they're just not really going to put up with it. I said all that to kind of paint a picture and that, okay, so they're already starting to talk about a second lockdown, like increasing the lockdowns in certain areas. And it definitely for sure is going to happen, just as sure as there's some place called Jazz in Seattle, ran by a rapper named Raz, or at least it was, and he was beating folks up for graffiti. Immediately installing a police state, but we'll talk about that in a second. I'm just saying there's some places that are the canary in the coal mine, basically, and they'll get shut down. They're fixing to shut themselves down pretty damn soon, perhaps in the next couple of days. Used to say they're gonna pull a fast one. And the only comfort that I get in all this let's get past this screenshot. But the only comfort I get in it is that San Antonio doesn't necessarily, it's not typically the canary in the coal mine. Like, we're not the first ones getting it. because of how much we don't even agree politically. We're not political. But at the same time, we totally disagree with all this BS that's running our town. I wonder how long it'll take before we realize that the exact opposite of what we want is running San Antonio, right? And can't wait to destroy the Alamo, by the way, amongst all sort of other things. Man, I didn't mean to get caught up on all that, all right? When I see that guy's face, it takes me off on a tangent. I just wanted to roll through the screenshots, all right? We wanted to get a wherewithal, I think. And so I'm not gonna spend, but it just hits close to home and stuff. So I go off on a tangent because I know full well that most people don't realize how slithery and slimy our mayor is. He's always been that way. All right. Oh my gosh, wearing a mask in hot, humid weather. It don't get no more humid than San Antonio for no good reason either. It's not like an ocean breeze coming through or nothing. It's just humid as hell in San Antonio, and you might fall over dead and stuff. Don't wear a mask. Not outside. They just finished installing the fiber optic needed in the 5G in my town. Just in time for the second wave, right in time for it. Just almost like by the skin of their teeth did they install it. And that's kind of interesting. I don't fully understand the technology. Like, for example, because I'll just put out my ignorance so that you know what it is. For example, I've been told about internet connections, in particular, that there's 5G, right? And that operates off the waves, but they're millimeter waves. They're totally different waves than what we're experiencing right now. And they got that sort of stuff. And then there's Wi-Fi, and there's different radiations that we pour onto ourselves, right? But then they say, well, if you don't want to do Wi-Fi, another alternative, a lot of people do it, it's probably even better, is fiber optic internet. That's what they say. It's like, well, okay, you plug it in the wall, it's a cord, that's fiber optic, it's the Ethernet, and all this. All right, so just to show my ignorance, it's like, okay, in San Antonio, I know exactly what you're talking about. This fiber optic, what they do is like, if I'm not mistaken, they tear up all the sidewalks, and like just they tear it up like a small little crack in it, and then they put in the cable and they install it all the way throughout your town, basically. And if I'm understanding correctly, because this exact thing was done to San Antonio, I forget when. I guess it was being done exactly when I came back to San Antonio, which was about 2 years ago, give or take. Right? They were, and this is not in the area that I'm at right now, although I'm sure they probably were doing it. It seemed like all over the place. They were tearing up right by the sidewalk in a street that crack, and they were putting in the cable, and they said that's Google fiber. I was like, well, that's untrustable. For sure. This is some Google fiber, and we're going to put it in for whatever reason. And so I'm trying to, and it's like I'm not trying very hard, but I kind of want to understand, kind of curious, what is the 5G is. I understand that they got the small towers, the millimeter waves. They got to have a whole bunch of towers, and that interacts with this fiber optic cable that they planted in the ground. Or what? Like, I thought, yeah, I'm trying to understand. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Is that cohesive with each other? Is that just all part of the Internet of Things that I've been hearing about for years and years and years now? Or I was hoping that, against hope, because Lord knows it is Google, but I was hoping that that would just make fiber optic cable more better. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it's bad for us. But if I'm not mistaken, that is the process, right? That's what you're seeing, Brenda. Is they're tearing up the street like right by the sidewalk, and they're in a crack, and they're laying down all this fiber optic stuff. All right, right in time for the quote second wave. And the reason that she brings it up, if I'm not mistaken, is because a lot of people have correlated the two, right? And I can't confirm nor deny it. And you will not see me denying as far as 5G and how that might See, that's the thing about it. Like, people like to put in straw man. And I don't know about. I'm not speaking on behalf of folks out there, but people like to install straw men in their arguments, and they say, "Oh man, people think 5G is going to give you the coronavirus," and these simple brains, we can't listen to them. But meanwhile, most of the people who I've heard is just says, "Well, it's not that it gives you a virus. What it does is it weakens your body, all right, and your mind and your soul probably." And it weakens to the point that now you're more susceptible to the viruses, right? And see, the thing is, they call it germ theory for a reason, I'm pretty sure. It's to say that people got a good theory and a grasp on what's happening, but however, it's a theory, it's not in concrete, we don't know, right? I tend to go, I lean towards the idea, gosh, see, we got caught off on a tangent. We didn't even go through the screenshots. We'll go through it in a second. But it's just to say, I consider viruses, first of all, we all got it, all right? Who's going to argue with me on that? Since like December and stuff, and some people just didn't experience anything, right? And maybe some people out there didn't get it, but most of us got it, right? So let's just get that out of the way. But I'm of the theory personally of the fact is we have cancer. I have cancer, all right? That might shock you, it might make you want to cry. But that's my theory, is that I have cancer, I have viruses, I have all sort of this bacteria, and there's even some funguses in there. Inside me. Inside me right now. And it's not killing me. Alright, but the thing is, it could get triggered, for example, by some, perhaps 5G. It's a possibility. Or it could get triggered by stress, or it could get triggered by a poor diet, or it could get triggered by lack of sleep. It could get triggered by me not breathing in deeply and, enjoying life. It could get triggered by a lot of things, but to include this 5G, scientific, that is very possible, right? Quite possible. They're messing with DNA, right? And they admit to messing with the DNA. That is their whole MO. That is what they do. But let's see if we can't do it, because we are running out of time. I did only want to stay maybe less stuff because I do have stuff, and unfortunately I got on late. But we do cool. I gave y'all a picture of it, but I don't have a picture on me right now. But it's gonna be good once I get it all hooked up. Okay. So, but for right now, just to make sure we get through it, let's get through the screenshots. And shoot, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we could say about it, but we're just trying to press through. And then perhaps we'll go back, we'll backtrack, and you let me know if we need to talk about something further than what we did. Okay, so Miami-Dade Police Director nails with group of 5,000 role models of excellence. All right. Not to be very long-winded, it is a satanic ritual. You don't believe it? Well, I know you believe it, but a lot of people out there don't believe it. It's quite obvious. Satanic ritual. All right. Budowski says this on the Hill. Michelle Obama or Tammy Duckworth. That's a funny name. Tammy Duckworth for VP. And it's just to say, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. What's their experience? Are they a lady? Are they a minority? Okay, now you're the vice president. Tucker Carlson's Fox News show loses Disney and other advertisers over George Floyd killing and black. I don't know. It's just like we've been talking about before. People are carrying on. All right. And it's quite simple in that race doesn't even, it's so funny that it doesn't even tie into any of this. If, for example, the divide, we might as well just say the divide is Black Lives Matters. And it's unfortunate. And I'm talking about the organization, the group. They might not want to be bundled all together with Antifa. I don't know if they do or don't, but they are. They're on that side because they have not made a distinction between themselves, right? So Black Lives Matters. And like I said, race doesn't matter, because you could be all for Black Lives Matter and be whatever color. It does not matter. All right. And then on the other side of the line And it's becoming a divide, man. It's becoming serious. Like people you wouldn't even expect are going to like perhaps the Black Lives Matter side. And it's a very dangerous side because they'll eat you. And I mean it like in any sort of way. The left eats itself, and we've known that for years now, and they're going to. So everybody is getting on the other side of the line where they're like, nah, forget Black Lives Matter. This is stupid. Y'all are stupid. Y'all get nothing done. Y'all don't even care about black people, which is kind of upsetting. So on the other side of all different colors, like I said, race doesn't even matter. Of all sort of different colors who are like, this Black Lives Matter garbage. We don't have time for this. And they're getting nothing done except for chaos. You know, it's like, okay, maybe they're in charge of all these protests. Me particular, oh dude, we're trying to get through the screenshots. Getting carried off on a tangent, you know. We'll get back to that. We'll just get back to that. But it's just to say, there's a line being drawn, and it has nothing to do with race, and it's blowing my mind. San Antonio Councilwoman looks to Minneapolis council member for information on reforms. Everybody in charge of running San Antonio is a miserable failure, and we deserve them because we don't know who's running San Antonio. As a populace, we deserve every last bit of wrath that we get upon us, and we're going to get a lot. Check this out. I mean, you might not know this, but San Antonio, our quote leadership, our people in government, they always look to the very worst of the worst for advice. Always. It's goddamn ridiculous. It's like I saw in the headlines the other day that we got a street that's vying to become the next 6th Street. 6th Street. You don't know that's a very famous street in Austin for getting drunk and just being a drunkard and carrying on. And actually, it's a lot more dangerous than it used to be probably these days. But we're trying to copy Austin. We should have nothing to do with Austin as far as copying it, dude. It's disgusting the example they're setting. Okay, and let's go through another example. San Francisco. We just asked them. I swear we asked them. We asked them advice for our homeless population. We asked San Francisco on advice on how to deal with San Antonio's homeless population. San Francisco, that's who we asked. All right, so the worst of the worst. Now San Antonio Councilwoman is looking to Minneapolis. She's looking to Minneapolis was literally a place where it was completely legal to choke you to death, asking them about the reforms. Now they're talking about getting rid of police entirely, and we're asking them for advice. That's how much it might blow your mind. T-Mobile and more. See, it's like, how could we even put up with this? How could you even put up with it? The only way you can put up with it is if you have not one single clue what's happening in your city. T-Mobile and more halt ads. Like I said in Tucker Carlson. Gosh, we're running out of time, but it's just going to get wild. Look, mayor-elect for Ferguson. Look at this lady. I don't know if I can zoom in. Yeah, I can. All right. I don't know if Tyler Perry would agree with me on anything, and I don't care if he would. But all I'm saying is, when the mayor of your town looks like a character of Tyler Perry, when the mayor of your town looks like Tyler Perry dressed up in a wig, all right, you have a serious problems on your hands, all right? And I think they know full well. Mayor-elect of Ferguson, where her city stands after Michael Brown. Michael Brown was years ago, and it doesn't matter. See, that is the problem. As though they care. See, they don't see reality, right? But if I was to explain it to them, I'd be like, hey, listen, if you want people to get on your side for your movements, you might stop picking the worst of the worst, just criminal people rolling around doing tomfoolery and thuggery around the community. Everybody said that they did. All right, you might want to stop picking the worst of the worst. You might actually want to pick someone who's a good example. All right. Oh gosh, these screenshots, they get me. They get me so bad. We're head over heels in all sort of lies. You gotta know if you're looking at it. And we could have said this a couple years ago. We could have said, hey, all these news and all these headlines are fake and they're meant to manipulate you. We could have said that 2 years ago. When it comes to 2020, I think you'll agree that it's 1,000 times more obvious. It is not even close. Like they don't even fathom. They don't even want to look like they're attempting to tell the truth. They don't even want to look like it. It's so unbelievable. It's so over the top. But I want you to check out this headline. Andrew Gillum's time to shine. Instead, he's on the sidelines. Okay, we don't even have to read the article because we see part of the first couple sentences. Look, it says this could have been his moment. And a lot of people don't know who Andrew Gillum is. I'll remind you. This could have been his moment. With racial tension boiling over across the United States, we got Alejandro Jimenez up in the dang building. I appreciate you. Holla at your boy. Hopefully you can get on the call-in show when we start getting it underway next week. I appreciate you. Let me know what's up. I'm about to say some stuff that's going to offend everybody. Damn, dude, don't be spamming my shit. All right, well, Devin says, Alejandro Jimenez says Devin. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but now he's saying all this stuff. All right, that's all right. But anyways, let me know if you got something to say before we get up out of here. Alejandro says, why to call in? I don't know. Call for whatever reason. But we don't have the phone hooked up yet. I don't know why you're asking why. It's probably better that you speak in whole sentences so that I don't know what you're talking about. But Andrew Gillum, but by the way, welcome. I appreciate you. You the man. And no offense, I'm just saying I don't know what you're talking about. Now, Andrew Gillum's time to... See, you might not know who Andrew Gillum is, but I've been before. Look at what it is. Like I said, there's nothing good. They part of their through demons. I don't know that they're doing it conscientiously, but they somehow write these articles, all right, devoid of any sort of reality or even logic. Not even close to it. Okay. All right. I say that to say, okay, it's supposed to be a black thing, right? And it's supposed to be a Black Lives Matters thing. Right? And you have to be for Black Lives Matters if you're black. Right? But we know full well that there's many black people who are not for Black Lives Matters. And so nothing of it has to do with reality. But they're saying, well, if Andrew Gillum was here, look, that's what they're saying. Then he could have stepped up and he could have built a bridge. Andrew Gillum's all about racial division, right? Since day one. But... so they're making up and pretending like he'd be good. He'd be bringing us together as Americans. He'd be doing the exact opposite. He's a protege of Barack Obama, right? One of the most divisive racially people ever, even though he's half white and half black. And it'll blow your mind, but he was a crazy communist from Hawaii or Kenya or whoever. I don't care where he was from. But... okay, here's the thing. They're saying he could have built a bridge. Obviously, he wasn't going to build a bridge. But it says, it's too bad he's on the sideline. It's too bad. It's too bad. Well, yeah, it's too bad. It's probably in the article. It probably goes on to explain that it's too bad that he's on the sideline because he's in rehab for, quote, alcoholism. Right? And trust me, I come from a long line of alcoholics. I'm not going to call out someone for being an alcoholic and saying, oh, look, he's slipping and tripping because he's an alcoholic. That was a poor excuse that he put off. And just as we explained, when it happened, right before Andrew Gillum went into rehab, the reason is because he was wilding out. All right, there's not one single doubt in my mind, not a shred of doubt, that he was not up in a hotel room overdosing on methamphetamines and probably fentanyl. That's probably what got him. To be honest. And the same exact thing happened to our man George Floyd, didn't it? Didn't it? All right, so Andrew Gillum, yeah, he could have brought us all together. He has an experience just like George Floyd, except he didn't get choked to death. All right, so Andrew Gillum, what he did, quite obviously, as sure as the sun came up this morning, Andrew Gillum overdosed on methamphetamines, and he probably did have alcohol in his system too. And his good friend, who happened to be a male prostitute, and I'm not guessing he's a male prostitute, he's a white out in the open male prostitute, that guy was overdosing. He had to be taken to the hospital or else he was going to die. Andrew Gillum, when they came to him, and it's on record, nobody disputes it, he was so out of it that he could not say words. Words could not come out of Andrew Gillum's mouth. That's how, and he was bent over the toilet as though he just overdosed on methamphetamines, like his good friend on the bed. right? And their good friend who found him, thankfully, was not on whatever it is they were on, and he was able to call 911. And that's undisputed. That's exactly what happened. All right. So yeah, if he wasn't, man, Andrew Gillum, he could have stepped up. He could have said everything the exact opposite of reality. If only he wasn't up in his. And I'm not, I'm not. I'm not saying him being up in the hotel room with his good friend Travis, who happened to be on Instagram and everything. I'm not saying that it's whatever, but he also is married, all right? You might think to a lady, by the way. I'm sure it's not a beard marriage. Wow. And oh man, we were trying to go through the screenshots, we couldn't even do it. Yeah, if only he wasn't overdosing on methamphetamines and stuff, just like George Floyd too, apparently. Ah, gosh, it's getting controversial. He cheated. Well, it depends on how I guess the wife feels about it. Because, I mean, when you think about it, if she's game, I guess that's what it is. Why did he do meth? Oh, man, we explained that earlier. Okay, man, Alejandro, you are really coming through. I appreciate you. You are a new favorite here. George Floyd, I mean, we don't all spell very well, but okay, let's see if I can catch up. It says, okay, George Floyd died? No, George Floyd died. Maybe Floyd died too. Alejandro Jimenez says this. Will Trump tackle? Or I guess I meant to put. Will Trump take care of the situation? I'm not sure what situation you're referring to. Gosh dang! I want to get to the bottom of what you're asking me, but I don't know what you mean. All right. So Alejandro Jimenez said, "Why did he do meth?" I think that's very important. We explained that from day one. But we don't know that everybody was here present while we're explaining it. The reason why he was doing meth, and a lot of people don't know this. See, okay, Alejandro, it's been popular belief that crystal methamphetamines have been a largely white person thing to do, right? And I can't dispute that. If you're going to break up people into categories, yeah, a lot of white people do that stuff. That's for sure. But what goes under the radar also is that there's a lot of black people who do the crystal methamphetamines too. Maybe not so much. There's less people in the populace of America of black people, and they maybe favor other drugs, but they do the crystal methamphetamines too, right? But even lesser known, except for the people out there who do a little digging and scratching for research, even lesser known, the homosexual population, and that's controversial. The homosexual population, hey, God bless them. Let them do whatever they want to do. I'm just speaking statistics. When you do some digging, crystal methamphetamines has been in that population for a long, long time. Way before that San Francisco, probably all up in that San Francisco scene back in the day when they were like getting their rights or whatever. Crystal methamphetamines. Now that's not the only drug that's of their preference, but it's one of the best drugs that they like. Right? Because it's kind of like, it gets you, from what I understand, I've never done it. Believe me or not, I've never done it. They say it's like cocaine, but just supercharged, and for a long time. Right? And so it gives you all sort of energy. That's what it does, the crystal methamphetamines. And also, at the same time, lowers your inhibitions, kind of just like a cocaine. And I've tried the cocaine only a couple of times, less times than I can count on my hand. It's just not my preferred thing, but all right. They say it's like that, and it lowers your inhibitions. Now, if you think about it in context, okay, ask yourself why. I'm not going to answer you, but ask yourself why. Why would Andrew Gillum, if he's hanging out in the hotel room with his good friend who's a known male prostitute named Travis, right? If he's hanging out, if he's hanging out in the hotel room, and it's just them two, and they claim to be that he's at a wedding. Oh, he just didn't bring his wife somehow for some reason, and he's in the hotel room, right? With his, I don't know how they met, but this guy's a known male prostitute, and and why would he do crystal meth? If, like I said, if it gives you a whole bunch of energy and it lowers your inhibitions, why would he do that? Why would they find it a good reason to do that? Okay, and then there's also other different stuff that I've heard of, and I know it's probably got a bunch of different names, but like jungle juice poppers, and all sort of like underground things that can be correlated with that whole community, if you were to call it that. And they're like jungle juice poppers, for example. I think he was a Super Bowl winner, or maybe not. A Chicago, I remember a Chicago Bears lineman, a retired football player. He died years ago. I remember seeing that story, and it had a lot to do with jungle juice poppers. You could probably dig through the internet and find it. And he was hanging out with his good friend in a hotel room. And his good friend that he was seeing with a tall, skinny man with dreadlocks. They went into a hotel room and they were doing jungle juice poppers. And they were just hanging out. You might ask yourself, well, why were they doing jungle juice poppers? Well, the thing about jungle juice poppers is it not only lowers your inhibitions, but it relaxes. It's a muscle relaxant. So it relaxes certain particular muscles in your body, and it will let those muscles do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. Say, why would they do it? Now I wonder why. I think he put it together. Anyways, Alejandro said he cheated. And then Alejandro said he liked it. He got it from his mama. Or I don't know what he said, but he said, Alejandro, who's just very, man, I appreciate all the support and help. Um, and we do have to get out of here pretty soon, but I do want to get to the bottom of this here thread. He says we have less to treat. Oh, well, okay, so he has less testosterone. Testosterone. I think you're talking about testosterone. All right, and I don't know what's up with your spell check, but he says so he has less testosterone. Do they get it from the jungle? They get it from some sort of jungle. I'm here to tell you because, like I said, it's like backdoor dealings in more ways than one, but it's like it's underground. These jungle juice poppers, I don't know that they have a medical term or that they're even distributed inside hospitals. These jungle juice poppers, they certainly get them from the jungle, right? But probably not the one that we're thinking about necessarily. All right, so since we only have so much time left, I appreciate everybody up in the building. I do have to get out of here to make sure I can get some stuff done. All right, but we didn't go through the screenshots. Look, this is Andrew Gillum again. Look at his face. All right. Yeah, he could bring us all together if not for his actions. Trevino pushed back at the Alamo for the truth. People trying to attack the Alamo and stuff. Now people got to protect the Alamo all the time. Trust me, it's like, dude, some halves of the Alamo, that is more than egregious. All right. For anybody, like say if it's someone from another city who came in and spray painted the cenotaph, that is more than egregious. I mean, that, it's like, I'm not saying, because it gets people scared, like, as far as the Civil War, those are Civil War actions. To come to San Antonio and think you're going to spray paint and desecrate the Alamo, oh, gosh, dude, it's getting real. Oh, man, I forgot about this, y'all. And hopefully I don't have it. I gotta make sure actually that I don't have any inappropriate screenshots. And we might just finish on this note, all right? Because Lord knows there's all sort of details that we could talk about that we just don't have time to talk about. By the way, so that you know, I should have said this in the beginning, but I'll say it every time I get on a broadcast. I'll let them know. Shout out to InfoWarsStore.com. You know what I'm saying? It's just the best of the best for the lowest price. And for example, I'm drinking some Turbo Force right now. And I needed it. I needed that little boost right before the broadcast, and I actually took some Brain Force. And I want to talk about that later. Not right now, we don't have so much time, but it does things to my brain. I just recently brought Brain Force, and I want to talk about that in more detail later. But it does things to my brain. All right, and I appreciate that. I didn't want to see these people. You might not recognize these people, but we're going to leave out on this, right? And let me know in the comments, what's really good. We're getting on out of here, right? But we have a couple of minutes. In the closing couple of minutes, I want to point you out to these people. You might not know who they are, right? That's actually de Blasio, who's a mayor of New York. Mayor de Blasio. And that's his, I don't know, bald-headed wife? It don't matter. I'm not. Maybe it's just she got her hair pulled back. I can't really tell. It don't matter. All right, that's his wife. I never knew his wife. It didn't matter to me. Probably doesn't matter to you. That's their daughter. And as you could already piece together, they're probably in a pride parade. They're carrying around all sort of rainbows. Just, I mean, you couldn't look more beta male. It just couldn't look more beta male. So it's that, like, that should be infuriating to see that as a person who lives in New York City. You should want to pummel this guy like it's a cartoon from the early 80s, right? This is just like, that's over the top. You look like a clown, right? And the thing is, I don't want to put together all sort of theories because I don't barely know de Blasio. I don't know him from a hole in the ground. All I'm saying is, like, from the pictures that I've seen, how can I not assume that you're a homosexual? It's like, I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying you are a homosexual. Ah, and it's like the elephant in the room. And then kind of find out from what I heard, his wife also a homosexual. And I'm not speaking out against their homosexuality. I'm just saying, why don't you come clean with it? The reason is because you're putting on a ruse. Because that's a fake marriage that y'all got going there. And sometimes fake marriages involve children, believe it or not. All right, it's not impossible to make children. So they did. And they got, I see some comments going on. I'll address those in a second. But hold on one second. They had a daughter and they had a son too. That's the daughter. And believe it or not, that's one of the best pictures that you'll find of the daughter. Right? The daughter not only looks that way, which isn't exactly impressive. Like, right, this picture might remind you of Emma Gonzalez. Right? Just not impressive. Who's it attractive to? Maybe the most desperate of desperate men ever created, right? And actually, there's more pictures that I want to show just to give a feel real quick as we're getting out of here, right? De Blasio, I'll put de Blasio's children. I don't mean to attack the children. I didn't even know his children existed. That's how, like I don't set out to attack people's children or something. It's just that they happen to be grown and they happen to be in Antifa and stuff, right? To include like his little daughter or whatnot. And his daughter, like I said, not impressive, not attractive by any standard that I can measure, right? But I did a little research and I was checking out the pictures, as you can find like on the internet if you just type in some person's children. I was making notes, like she actually did used to look better than she does these days because she went to college. And actually, I gotta say, his wife looks pretty attractive. It's none of my business. I'm not trying to be so shallow. I'm just pointing it out. His wife looks attractive. In this picture, yeah, you can say, okay, yeah, it's not a bad looking bunch right here. But somehow, some way, over the past couple of years, it just got worse and worse. Like it started like, you see those kids earlier, they were like, they're not off-putting looking. Like these people, yeah, they're getting older, I guess you might say. She used to be more attractive, but whatever, she's getting older. You can't blame her for that. These people are like in their height of their youth, and somehow they got uglier. Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be too like, I don't even like getting like this. But then they objectively just get much more visually unpleasant to look at. To include this guy's fro, and I'm not like against fros. I'm just saying that's an awful looking fro. And it's like you had no direction. And how could you have direction? It's not like your father has a fro and stuff. How would you know how to? I don't even blame him, because who would you look up to know how to do your fro? There's nobody else doing a fro. So you did it, but you did it terribly wrong. It just looks god awful, man. You should have not done that. But it's none of my business, right? And the lady, she was getting to looking just a little bit rougher. And if you go through her college photos, she starts to look rougher and rougher. She just keeps looking rougher, unfortunately. All right, and I wouldn't have brought any of this up. I didn't know she existed until recently. And I hope that it's not like anything inappropriate, but it's just to say, because they're not giving you the most recent pictures of de Blasio's daughter because she's kind of making headlines for being in Antifa. But they're just like, you don't want to see this person. Like, okay, and then she shaved her head bald and stuff, unfortunately. Like, she was looking normal for a long time. But nothing normal was happening behind the scenes. I gotta let you know. It's all facade. But now, see, after she's gone through college, somehow she's been traumatized. Now they're getting rid. I don't put it past Google. They're getting rid of her mugshot and stuff like that. Let's just okay here. For example, here, look. Doesn't that look hideous? All right. I'm not trying to get on her about it. I'm just saying, like, oh my gosh, it got outrageous. And I'm not even showing you the picture that you can find of her posing naked on the subway of New York City. And her father's the mayor. And it looks disgusting. And it'll give you nightmares. It's really bad. Alright, if you can find that, we're not trying to find that right now because you can see part of her nip. And I'm talking about on the subway. And you can basically see into her crotch. On the subway, it was so disgusting. It was a nightmare scenario. Alright, and that's the daughter of the mayor of New York City. So Alejandro is asking, who's sexist? Alejandro, I appreciate you because of all the effort you're putting in. At the same time, I have almost no clue what you're saying. Just because I'm saying all these words and then you're saying like little sentence fragments. And so when I come back and see what you said, I don't even know what it's in reference to. Who's sexist? I don't know what you're talking about. Alejandro Jimenez, you said this. George Floyd doesn't have kids. He has a Ford in the NBA. I don't know what you're saying. It's all gibberish. Michaela Jacksaxo, Romania. I'm scared. No, I don't know what any of it means. Rabbi Brenda just screamed no, and I would agree, even though I don't know what she's referring to. Probably his face you're looking at. If you want to know what college, just if you want to know what college is going to do to your loved ones, that is it. All right. Whether it's physically or just spiritually, it'll turn them into this. Unfortunately, it's mad disgusting. I just got to get out of here and say, it's incredible what's being revealed to us. We didn't hardly get into any of the important things, and I'm running out of battery. But in closing, I want to say this. People would hear a lot of the controversial things I say and say, oh, this guy's a racist. Problem is, I don't believe in it. And secondly, I come from a place in which culture is so much together that I just don't have time for y'all's people's games, right? And not only that, in my experience, I just got to say this. As far as ladies go, and I'm sure the same thing goes for dudes, but as far as ladies go, the most attractive, I think, personally, they're all attractive. Ladies, you're beautiful. Everything about you is wonderful. The most attractive ladies, in my opinion, are mixed ladies, and that's always how it's going to be somehow. They got like this exotic nature to them, to be mixed somehow, all right? And there's a lot of different mixes that you could do. But more often than not, it's really hard to make an ugly mixed child, I think, all right? But when it does happen, apparently it's the worst explosion of, I couldn't think of a way to make this person less attractive besides putting a curly mustache on her. Okay? I don't know how this happened, but this is revelation. It's being revealed to us. I don't even know how this is possible to get to looking like this. And meanwhile, you're going to call me because I'm saying Black Lives Matters is stupid. Well, you know what? Lil Wayne said it a long time ago, too. And it's pretty damn stupid. All right? So a divide taking place. Anyways, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. She's got armpit hair on the top of her head. You're damn right about that, Alejandro Jimenez, and I appreciate you. I'll holler at y'all definitely on Monday, maybe before then, and I hope y'all keep it together, all right, and take it real easy. I appreciate y'all. It is June the 12th, 2020.